Yeah, we've talked about a lot of things so far, and I think we need to take it back here to our calling to go and make disciples, and realize that Jesus spent a majority of his time forming the disciples in the context of mission.
Yes.
Every church would tell you, I think, or most would tell you that they want to make disciples.
Yeah.
They want to see new disciples. They want to see disciples grow. Well, discipleship that Jesus modeled happened primarily in the context of mission. It didn't happen at the temple, in the synagogue, at a building. It actually happened out in the world.
Yeah.
It happened in daily life, in everyday life. If you study the Gospels actually in this way, with this kind of filter, you'll find that 80% of the time, where they were, who they were with, was in the context of mission.
Yeah.
Okay? That really kind of flips the definition of discipleship on its head for many churches. A lot of churches are very informationally driven or educationally driven,
Right.
where they think if they can just preach enough, teach enough, people will get it and live differently.
Yeah.
We do need to preach well. We do need to teach well. We do need to preach consistently and teach consistently. We do need that. But Jesus showed us and modeled that it was about 20%.
Right.
It was about 20% of the effort.
Yeah.
And I believe it's true that a large part of spiritual formation must be experiential, must be in the context of mission and loving and serving and sacrificing and demonstrating hospitality and being at the table and being with people. It's that experiential, relational, intentional stuff where we grow the most.
Absolutely.
Even you think about, Paul spent a lot of time talking about the one another's.
Yes.
Okay? Well, what are those? Where can those happen? Can those happen in a formal meeting?
Right.
Mostly no. Those have to happen in a loving community that looks like a family.
Right.
Okay? And then again, so many of those aspects are even experienced in deeper, more formative ways when we're with lost people.
Yeah.
Because again, we said it's hard work. It's challenging. Growing in compassion, growing in generosity, growing in grace.
Yeah.
How are we going to learn those things? How are we going to grow in those things? Best as we are with people that are different from us.
Yeah.
People that are hard to love, people that think differently, different worldviews.
Right.
That's where some of the best growth and maturity and spiritual formation is going to come from, as we're in a diverse community of people that lives like family on consistent, intentional, relational mission.
Yeah, and that is part of what Jesus has invited us into. He's invited us into family. He wants to remove our aloneness and bring us into something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Where the world is looking for purpose, looking for opportunity, looking to fulfill me. Jesus is saying, no, I want us to do this together. I've invited you into something more. And so there's this invitational call to being in a missional community. You're part of family for a purpose even bigger than that family.
Yeah.
That you've been called by God supernaturally through the power of the Spirit of the living God, to help change people's eternity. That is worth giving our lives for, and is worth us saying, okay, I'm going to lay down my life so that others might have life. That we get to image Jesus in that.
Yeah.
We get to do what he did for us. We get to do it in the context of community, which will help change the world. One relationship, one meal at a time. A lot of good food, a lot of good conversation, and a lot of laughter around a table will hopefully, Lord willing, change people's eternity.
And as people around you are changing, with inside your community as well as outside your community, you change.
Yes.
I think we all obviously have a bit, or maybe quite a bit, of selfishness in us. We want to change, and we see the need to change, and even the call to change and become more Christ-like. And we always wonder, how can that happen best? Do I just need to read more, or listen to more sermons, or is it just that? There is an aspect of that we need. We need to be grounded consistently in the truth and in the gospel for sure. But experientially and relationally, that's where so much of our change happens.
Yeah.
And it can't happen any other way. You can't teach it into people. You can't preach it into people. You can't study it into people. Right. Yes, we do those things, but it really needs to be experienced as a relational community that lives in deep, committed relationship like a family, but then is this generous, hospitable, sacrificial family on mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where this kind of deep, rich change is going to happen best.
Yeah, it's life on life, and it's real life. And we're inviting the Lord into our mess, and we're saying, use us. Here we are, Lord. Send me. Send me across the street. Send me to the nation. Send me to my family. But let's do this together, which is a joy. Yeah. Thanks, Todd, for chatting, and thank you for diving in. And we just pray that these videos, this series was beneficial for you as you watch some of these, and we trust that the Lord will bring people to know him, that salvation will be the result of you watching some of these videos, working through some of this material, and that you're doing this together with other believers around the world, that Jesus might be known and that people would love him and experience his love. Thank you, guys.